Toy Story 5 is going to be one of Disney's next big animated movies, and you might not know this, but several pieces of information about the film have already been revealed. Lily Pad. In the previous movies, the villains were always humans or other toys, but this time, things are going to be a little different, because the antagonist will be an electronic device. That's right, we know her name is Lily Pad, and she will be a kind of tablet with artificial intelligence, capable of talking to her users. A clear demonstration of how current technologies are changing the way children play, since they are much more interested in playing on mobile devices than playing with toys. So it looks like we'll see our beloved toys being forgotten by Bonnie, who will start spending all her free time with Lily Pad. This is a theme that makes a lot of sense to talk about in today's world. So are you ready to discover everything we know about Toy Story 5? Stay tuned, because another awesome Cinewave is already on. Jessie. Something no one imagined was that Jessie would become the main character of the next Toy Story sequel, but that's exactly what will happen in the new movie. And when we stop to think about it carefully, it makes perfect sense, since Woody had his story arc completed in Toy Story 4 and left. Meanwhile, Jessie still has many things left to experience and could be the protagonist not only of this movie, but also of future sequels, especially since she even has a style similar to Woody's. It's also possible that they decide to focus more on Buzz Lightyear or another character in a potential Toy Story 6, but that's something only time will tell. Woody, as we know, had the end of his story in Toy Story 4, when he decided to become a toy without an owner and left with Bo Peep. Because of that, when the new movie was announced and he started appearing in promotional images, many fans were confused and asked themselves, wait, is Woody coming back? Yes, the cowboy will return. This news made many people happy, but it also left several fans worried about the possibility of the story going back on the ending Toy Story 4 had and deciding to make him live in Bonnie's house again. Still, let's believe Disney wouldn't make such a risky decision. The safest option for them is for Woody to return only to help his friends, who will definitely be in trouble because of Lily Pad. Who knows, this movie might even feature Woody's final appearance in the franchise. Buzz Lightyears. One of the strangest things we know about Toy Story 5 is that it will feature an army of Buzz Lightyears. We don't know exactly what their purpose will be in the story, but there's a good chance they'll end up becoming threats to the main characters. After all, Buzz Lightyear didn't know he was a toy in the first movie. If these other versions of him don't know that either, they'll cause major chaos before realizing they're toys, and they might even be manipulated by Lily Pad to get in the way of the other toys. It's interesting that we've already seen other Buzz Lightyears in the franchise, with several of them appearing in the second movie, even though they were boxed up. So do you think the army of Buzz Lightyears will play an important role in the new movie? It's easy to imagine that it will, especially since their presence was one of the first pieces of information revealed about the story. So are you excited to see the return of Pixar's very first franchise? If so, comment down below #ToyStory. Fake scene. The Toy Story 5 teaser impressed a lot of people because of its highly realistic animation graphics, surpassing the previous movies in that regard. In addition, the teaser showed Lily Pad appearing and the toys being afraid of her. But there's something a bit strange about this scene, since Woody is present as if he were just another one of Bonnie's toys. As we mentioned earlier, our theory is that the cowboy will appear, but no longer as a toy that belongs to Bonnie. So why would he be there from that very moment? The answer may be that this scene simply won't be in the movie. If you pay close attention, you'll notice that the teaser focuses on all the characters, but it's not just to show their reaction to Lily Pad's appearance. The main intention was to let us see how all the characters we love most will look now that the animation has become more realistic. So yes, it's entirely possible that the teaser scene was made purely as a promotional piece, with the sole purpose of giving us a sample of how the main toys look and introducing the villain of the story. Reboot. There is another somewhat unexpected possibility, which is that the movie could be a reboot. In other words, a story that restarts the franchise from scratch and ignores the previous films. No one really expected this to happen, but Tim Allen, the actor who voices Buzz Lightyear, stated that the story will be a reboot of the franchise. This would completely explain Woody's presence in the movie, since he may have left in Toy Story 4, but the version in Toy Story 5 could be another take on the character. However, what Tim Allen meant by reboot is still a mystery. It's possible that he simply meant the story won't be tied so closely to the events of the previous movies, aiming to reach a new audience. Jessie becoming the protagonist is a sign of that. If it were truly a full reboot, would Woody really stop being the main character? Giving that role to Jessie suggests that the movie still wants to respect the events of the last film, making Woody a special appearance rather than the center of the story.
Toys revealed! One of the main characteristics of the Toy Story universe is that even though the toys are alive, it is strictly forbidden for them to reveal this to humans. We don't know who created this rule, but it has been present since the very first movie, and every toy that isn't damaged is aware of it. Because of that, if the truth about the toys were at risk of being revealed, they would be in serious danger. And that's exactly what seems to be happening in this new movie. LilyPad will record the toys moving and use those recordings to blackmail them, since she could show the footage to Bonnie or anyone else whenever she wants. This is a threat on a whole different level. If the truth about the toys is revealed, everything will change. Will Disney have the courage to let Bonnie discover that her toys are alive? Or will the characters manage to keep this secret? We'll only get that answer when Toy Story 5 is finally released. Release date. There are many movies we're eagerly waiting for that will still take a long time to be released. Thankfully, that's not the case with Toy Story 5, whose release date is set for June 19th, 2026. There are only a few months left, and they will definitely fly by. It will arrive shortly after Pixar's next movie called Hoppers. Honestly, it makes perfect sense to release a completely original movie first and then follow it up with the long-awaited sequel to one of the greatest animation classics. It's a great balance between something new and pure nostalgia. But what about you? If you could choose, would you release Toy Story 5 earlier, or would you rather watch Hoppers first? The subscribe button is flashing just for you. Click it and hit the bell right now. Characters. If you're wondering which characters will be present in Toy Story 5, the teaser has already confirmed the presence of many of them. We've known for a long time that Woody, Buzz, and Jessie would be returning, but several other characters also appear in the teaser and in other promotional materials. You can be sure that we'll see the return of Rex, Slinky, Forky, Knifey, Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head, Bullseye, and even the alien toys. It's likely that all the other toys that belong to Bonnie and appeared in Toy Story 4 will return as well. In other words, we'll see many beloved characters in this next adventure. We just don't know which of them will get more screen time, aside from those who are part of the main group, Jessie, Buzz, and Woody. Andy's return. A new generation of children will get to know the toy franchise with this new release. But whether we like it or not, a large part of the audience watching Toy Story 5 will be made up of adults who are fans of the older movies. With that in mind, we can imagine that the film could bring back the toy's former owner, Andy. His last appearance in the present timeline was in Toy Story 3, but have you ever thought about seeing him reunited with his old toys? That could be the most emotional moment in the movie, and it would be impossible not to remember his farewell in Toy Story 3. Best of all, we could see what the character is like nowadays. Sid's return. Sid was the villain of the first Toy Story. He was a messy kid who modified his toys, turning them into monstrous creatures. The first movie became a true horror story the moment Woody and Buzz Lightyear got trapped in that boy's house. Like Andy, Sid is an adult in the present day. He was briefly seen in Toy Story 3, working as a garbage collector, but it would be nice to see more of him, especially to show Sid's side of the story. If we stop to think about it, the kid wasn't actually evil. He was just modifying his toys. There was no way Sid could have known that the toys were alive, and whether we like it or not, he played in a very creative way. Because of that, it could be revealed that the villain of the first Toy Story became an artist, maybe even someone who repairs toys using random items to replace their missing parts. That would be one heck of a twist, right? LilyPad's redemption. LilyPad has the potential to be the most dangerous villain in the entire saga because of her ability to record the toys. However, some people believe she may have some kind of redemption during the story and end up living in harmony with the toys without competing for Bonnie's attention. The main reason this is possible is that LilyPad will be the antagonist of Toy Story 5 because she represents modern electronic devices, which make children abandon classic toys. However, turning her into a fully evil villain could be a problem, since completely demonizing electronic devices doesn't seem right. Tablets and smartphones in the hands of children can be dangerous, especially if their use is unrestricted and unsupervised, causing kids to become addicted, constantly needing strong stimulation, and possibly even being exposed to content that isn't appropriate for their age. But when used the right way, these technologies can also be educational, since there are many apps that help children learn things in a fun way, whether it's math or languages. Many kids are learning a second language from a very young age thanks to technology. So after many conflicts between the toys and LilyPad, it's possible that everyone makes peace in the end, with Bonnie learning to divide her time between her old toys and electronic devices in order to have a
healthy childhood.
The fun continues with just one click. There are 2 videos on the screen waiting for you.
Thanks for watching, and see you soon.